What's up, guys? Back with another Fantasy Fishing Edge, talking about the St. Lawrence River tournament. It's been a while. We haven't fished a while with the ICAST break since Gunnersville. If this is your first time checking out this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the future episodes, and this will serve as a great reminder for you to not miss submitting your rosters every tournament. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HellaBass. Let's get in. So we're not going to check in to save time on the results from Gunnersville. You can check out my previous video. I'll put a card up, and you can check that out if you want to see that video on how the picks went for Gunnersville. We're going to dive into St. Lawrence. This is going to be an exciting tournament. It's going to be like Texas Fest of the North. I really think if you enjoyed watching those giant largemouth on Lake Fork, watching Bass Live, you're going to love watching this St. Lawrence River event. I think past events and Elite Series events show that this is going to be a great tournament. This is the reason to keep going back. If you go back and look at the weights from June at this college event, it was crazy. The first day it was like 80-some teams had over 20 pounds. It took like 23 pounds to make the top 20 and ended up being over 24 pounds a day to win the event. So just an amazing fishery. That was the tail end of the spawn, beginning of the post-spawn. These fish are going to be all done. They've had some tournaments in here in July with big weights. We're now starting to get into August. The weight should be up. All these fish should be putting back on weight after the spawn and getting heavier. And so this really could be the first time we break 100 pounds with just smallmouth, and this might be the event to do it. So this is going to be an exciting event to watch. So that being said, something new, instead of looking at Gunnersville, let's look at some of the other pundits' picks that Bassmaster has. So this is Corey Greathouse's article. I'm not necessarily going to read through all of these articles. I want you to check these out and look for yourself. You can add that on. Put this all part of your information gathering for making your picks. He really likes Fighter. He also names half the field of Bucket A as good picks for Bucket A. So definitely kudos to Corey. He gets the award for naming the whole bucket in Bucket A as good anglers. No surprise, they're all great anglers there. But he definitely likes the Fighter man. I think that's a good pick. And then he says basically everybody in Bucket A is good. Pete Robbins, nice article talking about how we're going to need whales, and that's true. They're going to need a 4.5 pound average, maybe more, to win this event. And so you want to look for anglers that can really put big smallies in the boat every single day and a limit of them. He likes Johnston as his number one pick. He's got a couple other good picks. I like his Gussie pick. Not a big fan of his Yellis pick. He cites history where Yellis did well, but that's back when there was no gobies and 13 pounds of largemouth was good on the St. Lawrence or Thousand Islands. So not a big fan of that. He also picks Lowen as his backup in Bucket A. I don't think that's a good backup. Kind of back to what Corey said. There's a lot of good anglers in there. Lowen probably will do okay. He'll probably cash a nice check, but you want somebody that's going to be fishing on day 4, and I don't think Bill Lowen has fished on a day 4 or a final day at the St. Lawrence, so I don't like that pick. So but there's a lot of good information in this article. Make sure you take a read. Lastly, Thomas Allen. He's a little bit further behind the other guys, so he's taking a few more risks. I really like his Lester pick. I do think Heron is a good dark horse pick in A. All these guys are picking Gussie and Schultz in their D bucket, and Allen gets the award for picking the most dark horses to cover his bases, making sure that if you read his picks, he's bound to have somebody that does well in this tournament. So a lot of good information. Make sure you read through these articles, and then let's get into my picks, and I'll tell you my strategy for the event. So I think it's important, if you're like me, doing okay, but you want to make a move in this tournament, I think it's important to watch the percentages, but you don't want to go all low percentage. You need a little chalk, because chances are, if they're all low percentage, some of them are low percentage for a reason. You're not going to hit on every single one of them. So pick your poison, take some favorites, take some dark horses if you want to move up. That's the way to do it. If you go all dark horses, you tend to get burned and fall further behind. So that being said, Bucket E has a few interesting picks. There's a lot of guys like the Chris Grow. He's getting a pretty good percentage. Carl Jocumsen has really let me down all year, but I feel like he has done well here. He did really well on a September Coastal last year. I'm picking him. I'm hoping and he's going to come through for me this time. Rick Morris is also a good pick here. So I like Rick Morris. They're all a little risky. They're in Bucket E for a reason this year, is because they're not having great events or great years. So you could look at Kennedy. You could look at Chris Grow. But for me, Rick Morris, I guess Carl Jocumsen is the safest of the risky picks in E for me this week. So Bucket D, I really like Gussie in this. He doesn't necessarily have any tournament records with major events in either the tours or AAA events, but his skill set suggests that he'll find smallies and do well. It takes an art to land 4 and 5 pound smallies on light line, and I think Gussie knows how to do that. He's good with spinning rods, he's good with drop shots, jerk baits, spy baits, all that stuff. I expect him to do well. Bernie Schultz has a really great track record. As a guy from Florida, he does really well up here. I think he fishes for shallower than average smallmouth up here, and I believe he had a bad finish last year, but I believe that's mainly due to mechanical issues. So I expect him to rebound. Bucket D is he's doing all right in the points this year. He can still make some move in the northern swing here. So consummate professional. I'm looking for Bernie Schultz to make a move. If you're looking for somebody else in this bucket, I would say Kobe Krieger maybe. He's had some success here. And I think Jesse Tacarante, a West Coast guy, has done well in some of the northern opens on Champlain and things like that. I think he could be a good bucket. So if you're looking for a guy that is a really low percentage and something really different, those are a couple guys to look at. So bucket C, Paul Mueller is the fan favorite here. Hunter Shryock is getting a lot of love. Both guys are pretty good picks. Both have had some good events up here, had some bad events here. I'm going to go a little off the radar here, and I'm going to go Craig Dipalma. He's a New Jersey guy. This is in his area of the country. He should have some experience here, although I didn't necessarily find any. I'm going to kind of go out on a limb, look for him to have a big tournament and make a move. Another guy that I think that has tournament experience here has done well is Yusuke Miyazaki. So if you're looking at a guy that's a low percentage with a little more experience, he'd be a good pick. So bucket B, there's a reason Jamie Hartman's the overwhelming top pick here. He's got a lot of experience. He's from New York, even though he lives in Arkansas now. He's had some really good success out there. I expect him to do well. I think he's a great value in bucket B. He's healthy. His back is good. He's fishing great. He just won in Guntersville. I think momentum, confidence is high for him right now. He didn't go to ICAST. He actually spent a bunch of time fishing up in New York. I think he might have sampled New York a little bit before it went off limits. There was a bunch of pictures on his Instagram catching some giant smallies. Not sure if this is Oneida or the Finger Lakes or Thousand Islands, but these kind of look like Thousand Island fish. So he did his prep work. He took advantage of the break. I look for him to do really well in this tournament. Perch has done well here in the past, kind of up and down. Pipkins, on paper, based on his skill set, should be really good. A guy from Michigan. His track record has been a little inconsistent here, but he's having a really good year. You could look at him. Keith Combs has done well here. So there's a lot of good picks. As you get up in the buckets, the risk goes down, and it's really about getting the top guy in each of these buckets. And for me, that's Jamie Hartman this week. So finally, bucket A. Bucket A, tons of great anglers, as Great House pointed out. Fighter, overwhelmingly dominating. He's super popular. Zaldane could do well here. I think the two guys to really watch here are the Johnston brothers. There are some other guys like Lester. There's some young anglers like Livesey and Walters that could do really well here. They catch them everywhere they go. But the Johnstons have a ton of major tournament experience here, both team trails, Canadian trails, other circuits. And Chris Johnston, frankly, has a little bit better average finish up here, and he's a little lower percentage. For me, that is a lock to go ahead and lock him in. So he's a moderate percentage. Should do really well here. He's a great angler. He knows how to catch those northern smallmouth, and that's why we're going to lock in with Chris Johnston this week. So what I want you guys to do is comment down below. Let me know who is your kind of like your fan favorite. Who do you want to win? And then who did you pick to win this tournament? I think it's going to take at least 92 pounds, 4 ounces. I would say my fan favorite, I'd like to see Zaldane win a tournament, but I'm picking Chris Johnston to win the event. So that's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you please subscribe, comment with who's going to win the tournament, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HellaBass, and we'll catch you next time.